Hey, what's going on? It's another day. Just trying to live my life. And today I wanted to talk about porn and how it's just damaging relationships. And not only that, but it's just ruining the masculinity in men. And how us men, we need to do better. We need to make better decisions. And you don't even realize until you actually stop the benefits there are to semen retention, the benefits there are to stopping. And there are so many benefits. And a lot of it is mental clarity. You feel more at peace. You would think it will be the other way around. Of course, when you first start, it's going to be hard. It's going to be a challenge. And, you're going to feel like you can't do it. You're not going to have any of that mental clarity. But the longer and longer you practice it, the more and more in control you truly are. And, for me, I realized how much more in control of my thoughts I was. But not only that, I was in control of my reactions, because it made me overreact to a way that I'm not so proud of, and it made my relationship toxic because it's something I just couldn't stop. And the more and more I got accused of shit, the more confrontational it made me. And it got to the point where I had to straight up just tell her everything. And I was tired of hiding. I was tired of the lies. I was tired of truly relying and being dependent on porn. It's not something that I wish that I did. It's not something that I had control over. I was powerless over my addiction, and it really came to a point where it got to a all-time low. Like, I came to the point where I was paying for women online, and not only that, just couldn't stop following IG girls. And it just gets addicting. The more and more you do it, the more and more you consume, the more accustomed you get to it, and you build these habits, and it just makes your relationship toxic. My relationship would be at a much better place right now if I just stopped doing it a long time ago. So I don't want people to make the same mistakes that I made, because I fucked up. And I'm going to be straight up. I fucked up real bad. And, I feel my story can help. That's why, it's down below for anybody that's interested. But my story, I share the stuff that I went through, and what I really figured out at the bottom of the line was it's a deep-rooted issue. And I realized that's the reason why I couldn't stop, because the more and more I consumed, it was when I was in a sad state of mind. It was more when I was in a depressed state of mind. It's something that I went to because after my car accident, it's something that was always there. Whether you're in a good mood, you go to porn. Whether you're in a bad mood, you go to porn. It's like the devil is always going to be knocking at your door, and temptation is never going to leave. And a lot of us don't even realize, but a lot of this shit is spiritual too. And you really can elevate your level of consciousness just by not fapping your shit away. And I know, for a lot of us, this is all we know. We've been doing it for so long that we're so used to being at that low state of frequency. We're so used to being at that low vibration that we think nothing of it. But it really does keep us at a low vibration, and it's really not causing us any good. And I know another one is, confidence. It does kill our self-esteem. The more we fap, the more we get lost in that road of porn, or even if it's just following girls on IG. You just get lost in that road, and it really makes you less confident, and it really does fuck up your self-esteem. And, I say more than ever, I have this clarity that I didn't have before, and I didn't realize how much benefits there really was to stopping. So I really do think us men, we need to really do better, and we really need a community to help hold us accountable, which is why I got a communities down below if anybody's interested. But we need a community so we can really hold each other accountable, and we can really inspire us men to be better men. Because at the end of the day, this porn shit is doing nothing but fucking up our masculinity, and it's really fucking up our motivation. You can use that energy somewhere else, and you can really truly inspire to be a better person. And my addiction got so bad that it was all I knew. So I even got involved in the sex industry, and the last thing I want to do is get my girl involved in that. But, part of me realized the whole degree to it being a deep-rooted issue was getting involved in that and seeing all these dudes who's just paying for shit to be like humiliated and stuff. And you really like started to think like, damn, I was ashamed of some of the shit I was into, but these dudes, they on a whole nother level. And it really makes you think and shit. Like, this really is a deep-rooted issue. And you really got to get to the bottom of it. Because once you get to the bottom of it, that's when you can truly stop. And there are so many benefits. There's so many perks to stopping. So I highly suggest that y'all consider it. And I'll see y'all next time. But yeah, a lot of people, they don't even realize that a lot of this shit is spiritual. And it really keeps you at a low frequency, keeps you at a low vibration the more and more you do it. And the more and more you stay away from it, you realize that you can really elevate your level of consciousness, and it really can do wonders for you. And we're so used to being stuck in that mode that we think nothing of it. It also messes up our confidence, it messes up our self-esteem, our motivation. And the more and more I was able to stop, the more I realized I was more in control on how I reacted. I was more in control of my confidence. And I can say, for the first time in my life, I feel more confident than ever, even though I'm not always at the place that I want to be. But I can speak with more conviction now, and I can speak more confidently because I know I'm not hiding anything anymore. I was tired of looking over my back. I was tired of, playing games, because at the end of the day, I'm not going to lie. I was playing games, and I could have did better. I should have did better, but I didn't. But I realized, the perks there are to stopping, and not only will it heal your relationship, but it also will make you better overall as a person. And, what really got me interested in, getting down to the bottom of my deep-rooted issue is, I got involved in the sex industry. And I'm not going to lie, the last thing I want to do is get my girl involved in that shit. But, when I realized that she didn't even have to flirt with these dudes, she can just talk shit. And these dudes are on board with that, So I had some shit that I feel like I was ashamed of, but these dudes, they on a whole other level. And it really made me get down to the bottom of it, like, damn, this shit really is a deep-rooted issue. Like, and if you can really get down to the bottom of that, that's when you truly can't stop. And us men, we really need to do better. We need to hold each other accountable, which is why I got a community. If anybody's interested, it's down below. But, we need to inspire us men to do better, to make better decisions, and ultimately hold each other accountable. Because, I didn't have all of that, and I wish I did, because I probably would have stopped a lot sooner. It's something that I was going to for as long as I can remember, after my car accident. And it's something that I leaned onto whenever I was in a sad mood, whenever I was in a depressed mood, even when I was in a mad mood. Porn was just always there. And, it didn't cause me any good. It's done nothing but cause me hell and back. And I'm not proud of it. But I feel like I've cracked the code. And I really want to help inspire other men so they're not making the same decisions that I made. And they can really stop and get down to the bottom of their habit before it's too late, I just want to do better, and I want everybody to do better as well. But I'll see y'all till next time. Salute. But yeah, I feel like I cracked the code, and I just want to help inspire men to not make the same mistakes that I made, because, it may be too late eventually if you keep on going down that path. And, for me, I realized that I needed to do better, because if you really do got someone that you do love, you got somebody that you want to be with, then cherish that shit. There's no point in going back to it, because at the end of the day, you're wasting that intimacy all for some digital porn. Like, it's so stupid and it's so pointless, and we really need to get down to the bottom of that deep-rooted issue, because once you do, then the rest is history. So I'll see y'all till next time. Salute.